everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be engraving wood slices. So we have some wood rounds here. These are stall tags for a barn. And then we're also cutting this big sign. We're engraving this big sign. So this is a big wood plank from Walnut Hollow. You can get this at most craft stores or on their website. So this is a two-sided sign. And we engraved this within our Glowforge. So this is one thing to note. This sign overall is too large for the machine to engrave edge to edge. However, this was able to fit in just to the edge. I was barely able to fit it in, and so I'll show you how you can still engrave an item that is larger than the safe cutting area, and how you can check to make sure that your Glowforge will clear your item and not ruin it. So before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And check out the link in my description to find out how you can save up to $500 on a new machine. Alright, so I'm in Tillet Studio. I want to very quickly just show you how I set up this design in case you wanted to use some of the elements. So I grabbed this horse from a farm animal pack from Design Bundles. So this has a ton of animals, so it works out really well for me. And then I used two font pairings in here. So this first one is called Valerina, and I'll link it in the description. And then these two look very like, you know, Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines. And this is High Tower Text, and it's in all caps. So I set it up with the address over on the left, farm aligned on the right. Part of the reason why it's aligned on the right is that when you bring it down an acceptable distance, in my opinion, this Y goes a little bit too far. So it's a little bit too much for me, so I right aligned it. Now you can see this is how it's been welded. So all I do to make this kind of flow a little bit better is I take my script font and I weld it, which you should always do that when you're engraving. I'm going to right click, group it together. So now we need to take some space between the text and the horse. So to do that, we are going to do an offset. Over on the right side, we have our star here. Open the offset panel, click on offset, and we're going to do a distance of, let's type 0.04 to test, hit enter. I like that, that's a good distance. So then hit apply. So now your offset is selected. I'll fill it in so you can see. And now hold down shift to grab your little horse. And we're going to go over to our modify panel on the right and subtract. So now you can see it's broken apart. We're just going to do Control G to group our horse. And when I'm happy with everything else, I'm just going to take this box away from my guide, grab the entire thing, and do a quick little make compound path. So I've made this one big giant object. You can see it took the fill away, no big deal. That's our design there. Let's take that line color so it doesn't look so weird. And now we're all set. So I'm going to save my selection, save it as an SVG, and then I will see you in a second in Glowforge. Okay, so here we have our wood slice. Got lots of bark coming off. So we are going to mark the center of this. So this is 23 inches wide. So that'll be an 11.5 inches is the center. Right, so when you measure this, we have 23 inches, so I'm going to bring this down to about 11.5. That's about the center. And now I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. That's just so I can visually see it. That'll come out when I sand it as well, so I'm not too worried about it. So now we're going to lift this up and place it within our Glowforge. So this does get tricky. Now this is larger than the actual engraving area. We're not going to be able to engrave all the way to the side. And we do need to lift it. So I have my two boards in here, and I have my crumb tray taken out. So the bark falls off a lot, so you do need to be prepared to like clean it out of your machine when you're done. So now I'm going to place this in. I'm going to try to center this as much as I can. And then before I do anything else, I am going to bring my arm down to make sure that it clears my board. So you can put something that's bigger, but it's got some arms down here. And if you are engraving too far over, if your item isn't in there, these arms could hit your item and then it's not going to clear, and then you ruined an item and everyone's upset, and you know, you have to start over. So I have this placed in here. I'm going to turn it on, let it process, and I'll see you in the software to set it up. Okay guys, so I am in Glowforge. You can see that this is aligned pretty close already because I engraved the other side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my 3 dots, set my focus, and hit it in the middle of the board. So you're going to see right now my engraving doesn't actually fit in that safe engraving area. You saw that gray because we need to fix it again. So while that's going, I'm going to set up my settings. So we're going to engrave, and I'm using one I've programmed, wood slice sheet music, essentially my wood slice. And so I'm doing my speed at 1000, my power at 80, and I'm doing 270 lines per inch. So that gives me a nice dark engrave, but not too much. Now it does go in a little bit deep, so if you don't want it to be as deep, you could slow it down, but bring the power down as well. So that way it's not as far into the wood, but it still will give you a dark look as well. All right, so you can see we have our design like this, and we're just going to check it. So you can see we've maxed out our space. This gray is where it needs to be, and so we're just a tiny bit off center, but it's an outdoor sign, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So let's go ahead and print. This is going to process, tell us how long. Now this print is almost an hour and a half long, so I'm going to do a time lapse to show you, and we're going to go ahead and do this engraving, and I'll see you for the next part of this. Right, so I'm in here working on the stall tags now. So we're using the same elements that we used for the sign. We have the same font, which is this high tower text, and then the horse from that pack, and both of those will be linked in the description. So I don't know how to say this horse's name, but this is the horse's name, and then Jupiter and 6. So I put these on these little ovals just so I could test it, and now that I'm happy with those, I'll move them to the side, and then just do a really quick, I'm going to grab both of these, right click, make compound path. I'm making this a different object. And I'm going to do the same for the other two. So we have them set right up. It's right click, make compound path. And I'm actually going to upload these as the same file type. So in order for me to engrave them separately, but in the same file, I need to change the line color. So this one I'll keep red. This one I'll change over to green. And then this one I'll change over to blue. So these are 3 items with 3 different line colors, so this will allow them to be recognized as 3 different functions within Glowforge. So I'm just going to grab the 3 of these right here, go to File, Save Selection, and save it to my hard drive as an SVG. And I'll see you in just a second in my Glowforge software. So here in Glowforge, you can see the 3 are set up separately. So before I do anything else, I'm going to hit my 3 dots, and I'm going to set focus to the middle of that wood round. Now this is about the same height as that wood sign we just did, so we're doing the same process. So I want to do this one with the S first, so I'm going to click on this right here, go to Ignore, go to Jupiter, click Ignore there, and then here's the one we're going to engrave. Let's set it to engrave. The same settings as before, so this will be speed 1000, power 80. And now you can see here is our design. And you can see that we are focused, so we're all set here. And now we can just resize this to fit into our stall tag. So let's bring this over. Let's shrink it just a little bit more so it's got buffer area around everything. And the good thing about these wood rounds is that they're already imperfect, so don't, honestly, do not strain yourself trying to make it perfect because they're already imperfect, so just embrace it, okay? Alright, so I have this set right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. We're going to see how long this will take, and then we're just going to start engraving our stall tags. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the next 2. It's the same process for both, but I will show you in the time lapse all of the engraving. So you can see that this one is about 13 minutes, so I would guess the other 2 will be close to the same amount of time as well. All right, friends, we are all done engraving. So I have these 3 wood slices, and I have sprayed them with a finishing spray that I got from Lowe's. So we have these cute little stall tags, and then I'm very proud of this sign. So this is a decent size sign. This plank is by Walnut Hollow. They sell at most craft stores and on the website. Now this is something that I maxed out my cutting area within my Glowforge. So the great thing about this is that you can cut this in all 3 models. You can print it. It might take a different amount of time because I'm using the Pro. So this is something that I did not use pass-through. This is too thick for pass-through anyway. So I was able to max the space, and make sure if you do try this to go through and check the arm before you engrave to make sure you have this placed correctly. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're watching and you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And if you like this video and you're ready to jump in and get your own Glowforge, you can check out the link in the description and save up to $500 on a new machine.